Shut up. I'm not trying to get any closer to. This is the only way I could do it where it looks like I'm looking right now. Just kidding. Just kidding. So what it is I wanted to tell you about my old friend of me from when I was 15. We met somewhere where throwaways go, and we shared a room for a while. She had real bad asthma. She was like my best friend. We fell out. She I'm not a stubborn person, but when somebody betrays me, I basically give them 3 strikes and then they're out. And she really needed my friendship. By and by, she got, uh, I think, adopted by a foster family. Nice people, but in my community, you know, or my grandparents' community where the farm is. And I really, 3 strikes, you're out. And she was hanging around when me and my cousins were there one night, and we were on the beach, and probably trying to party with the locals. And she she looked like she wanted to be included, but I have a very strict code about including people that have stabbed my back 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out. And she didn't care about my feelings then, you know. And I knew she would make friends easily anyway. So we're the same age. If I was older, I probably would have taken her under my wing. I would have forgiven her. But we're the same age. She was only 2 months. I was only 2 months older than her. So I think I won't say her name, but when she was 12, she lost her mom because her mom got shot in the head and she saw it. So she was messed up to begin with. But like I said, we were the same age. And I was troubled and had my own problems. Plus, I was homeless most of the time. I was staying at my dad's cabin or at my grandfather's house, my aunt and uncle's house, or couch surfing at one of my friends' places. I was not even housed. So if she needed a friend, it wasn't this girl she needed, you know. And my uncle came along to make sure she didn't get in any trouble, you know. He kept the local boys off her so that she wouldn't get jumped or anything. Because he understood what they're all about. They were all about. I knew she wouldn't get hurt. I knew they weren't the type of guys to try and hurt her physically, but she might get her feelings hurt like I did. But when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, I never once got physically hurt. I got, technically I was assaulted because unconsensual sex assault is sexual assault. But they didn't actually try to physically harm or maim me like sometimes happens today a lot for some reason. I'm blaming the jihadis, okay? If you don't like it, go do some research and you will like it. Because it's the truth. Our society has been polluted by jihadi insanity for like 80 years. Very covertly. And things are changing now for the first time in my entire life. So I'm optimistic. Anyway, on the spiritual vein, last time I saw my old friend of me, She was working at an old folks home. We were 19, and I ran into her in my hometown. She told me she was working in the same old folks home where my great grandmother was. She was 103 when she died. And that's the last time I ever saw the girl. I had a nice conversation with her. She was working. I wasn't, you know. And I remember thinking I knew she would, I knew she'd be okay. But she wasn't okay, really, but I thought she was. She always had kind of sad look on her face. She doesn't smile easily. Maybe she never smiled. But I had a lot of things to worry about besides her. So what I did, I lived my life. It was very eventful. And I traveled around Canada because I want to be a writer. And I did a lot of traveling without money. Dad would help me buy a bus ticket now and then, or a train ticket, because back then you used to be able to afford to take a train now and then. And the train was the most comfortable option. And everybody had access to every car. It wasn't just the people who paid twice as much get to use the bar car. That's ridiculous. Because there's only one washroom for an entire car, And if that's full, you're screwed. That's just for starters. Anyway, I just think it's terrible the way they got rid of so much of the trains. To me, trains are special, and I'm a train geek from way back. I've always been a train geek. Anyway, I'm changing the subject because this is hard. Because I know a certain percentage of people out there, they're going to think this is some kind of psychotic delusion on my part that didn't really happen, even though it's proof positive of the afterlife. Because there's no other way that I could have known when my frenemy died. All I knew was she had a job as a nurse, or not a nurse, a nursing assistant or something, when she was 19. I think I knew she was becoming a nurse. She was going to become a nurse. And her role models were nurses, so that makes perfect sense, right? But she also had a restless spirit about her, And I had to hear about that from other people because I was too self-centered at the time as a teenager to notice, but she had problems that I didn't understand. That made her very flighty, and she would be attracted to flash rather than substance. Let's put it that way. But she had a job, so everybody was like cool with it, I guess, ultimately. Yeah. That's usually the way it goes. If you have the outer trappings of being acceptable in society, and then that's it. That's all they want to know. People don't want to dig too deep because then it's going to be something disturbing, right? every time. Not every time. I'm just thinking of that movie, As Good as It Gets. It's one of my favorite movies, but it's not in my blog because for a while I thought he was a narcissist, but he's really just had OCD and he's a misanthrope. That I could deal with. Narcissist, I can't. Narcissism is universal. Everybody's narcissistic when they're a child. But most people grow out of it, except when there's a trauma or a change or something they can't deal with or something they need to deal with or whatever. Something bad happens. Usually it's caused by something bad happens or something really good happens. Next thing you know, you're in some kind of, you're in flux and you're acting, your little narcissistic traits will come out again. Don't worry about that. And don't accuse people of being narcissists based on that. It's not true. I don't know what her problem was, but I hadn't seen her since she was 19, since we were 19, and as far as I knew, she was still in Nova Scotia. When I was in my 50s, living in British Columbia, I didn't know she was in my community working in the hospital. I didn't know that. I have face blindness. I wouldn't know her if I saw her. But apparently she was still very beautiful, even in her 50s. And tall, statuesque, brown eyes. She's a very pretty girl. Uh, there's this movie called Crash. It's not the one with Sandra Bullock. It's the other one. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I had a vision. I was starting to have visions. I was in a lot of pain a lot of the time, and so I was in a state of flux very often. But I never used any chemicals like to try and I would never use chemicals. The strongest thing I ever used was over the counter meds for pain. But I did have a vision about someone. I didn't know it was her because I didn't recognize her right away. Even in my visions, I'm face blind. At least as long as I'm in this plane of existence. Apparently that is going to be my condition. It's called prosopagnosia, and I don't recognize people by their faces alone. And it also affects certain things I don't notice, like their hair, whether they're wearing a hat or glasses or mustache, stuff like that. I won't remember either. I might remember a hat because I love hats, and shoes. I'll remember shoes. Hats and shoes. That's it. I don't remember whether you had glasses on. I don't know. You might think you're 4 eyes, but I won't even notice your fucking glasses, okay? Unless they're crooked or something. I won't notice. Unless your face is scarred or you got a weird face. I won't remember your face. So anyway, in my dream, she was falling into hell. The girl fell into hell. As far as I knew, just this random. I couldn't figure out why it was happening because I hadn't started having these rapid, numerous visions like I do now. Like my mind must be wide open because I keep getting them all the time. I can see anything I want to see basically now. I can get cues to find out who's doing what, and it's like I'm being tested on it like constantly. But anyway, I saw this girl, this tall, dark-haired girl with brown eyes and a long face falling into hell. And she landed, ouch, on her ass. And she looked around and she said, "Oh my God, it's real." And I believe that's the last words that ever came out of her mouth. And what surrounded her, and when I have in these visions, it's like I'm standing there. If I have a vision of hell, I'm standing there right in hell with her. And the only reason she could see me is because I wanted her to see me. Which is weird, but I thought that might be important detail. But I was right there. And as I watched from my position of safety, all these cartoon bumper cars that were the size of regular vehicles on the road, they had like angry eyes and they were coming for her. They were all revving at the same time. Yeah, I got the fuck out of there before I could see anything else because I didn't even want to see it. Well, this is difficult. My heart's just going. My heart's pounding. I feel some kind of way about this. I have feelings about this, like deep feelings about this. 2 days later, I'm sitting in my room. I'm thinking, was that Brent? Sorry, I have to cut that out. Was that My old friend of me? Was that her? Uh, no way. And what was she doing here? I didn't even know she was here. I didn't know. Oh my goodness. So I went back in to check on her, see how she's doing. See, I was scared to go in and see how she's doing. But she was tired. She couldn't talk anymore, and she was running away from them. And I watched her trying, so tired, but still trying to run away from these cars. And they're still revving their engines. And they're cartoon cars, which makes it even scarier, believe it or not. Somehow it just makes it more scary. Because anything can happen. Like, there's no physics in hell, you know? There's no such thing. I want people to know that hell is real, so they won't go there. Okay? My intentions are good. I don't have any malicious intentions. Never. I will defend myself, but I don't have malicious intentions. That's not me. That's not me. Not even close. It's not even this much me. Anybody who really knows me knows that already. Okay? And she had some road rash on the side of her face. Now, how would I know this? How would I know that? I didn't even know how she died, let alone if she was really dead at this point. She came as close to me as she could. She got her face right up in my face with her eyes wild and crazy. And she said nothing because she couldn't speak, right? I said already. She was saying it with her eyes, though. Trying to warn me about something. I thought she was trying to get me to warn somebody else about something. She was trying to warn me. And frankly, I was about to get hurt. But I'm okay. Like, I survived. I always do, so far. Eventually I'll die. Everyone always eventually does. But I'm not worried about it. I know where I'm going when I die. I'll be able to go and visit hell anytime I want, just to make sure justice happens. But I felt totally safe and not really in it with her, you know? And why should I be in it with her? I never had any part of her when she was alive, you know? I wasn't included in her group. I wasn't good enough to be part of her ultimate group when she was alive, so why would I have to share in her punishment? Okay, that's not even a thing. So she was trying to warn me, okay. She was very panicky, but ultimately she got used to being there. Believe it or not, in a sense, this is very dark, but she sort of came into her own in hell in a way she never did in life. So I hope that's a comfort to people, because a lot of people were genuinely fond of her. She's that type of person that inspires that type of feeling in people. She was an Aquarius, and she was just very unique person. She's a survivor. She was a survivor. Well, maybe a year later, I don't know. I've never drawn the line between those two times because I didn't make the connection right away. But someone died, and it was at a time when I was trying to make deals with people that if you go to the other side and you stop doing like terroristic stuff, people, because I was getting attacked a lot, I will intercede with God for you. I'm not promising anything, but I will intercede for you. I will talk to God for you. I'm not afraid to talk to God. My ultimate goal is to be big enough to sit in his lap. I love my friends, but God's the only one that ultimately matters. If they all turn bad, I still have him. If everyone jumps off a cliff, you know what? I'm not going to. No. I don't understand popularity. It seems like too much work. And I'm face blind, so it would be impossible for me. And my dad was popular, but he mostly only cared about Nova Scotia, and everybody knew who he was, so he didn't have to remember everybody's face. He was also face blind, just like me. And he was an overachiever, and he was so different from me in that way. I achieved in my own way. I love my dad, by the way. Everybody wanted to have a dad like mine. I know she would want to have a dad like mine. I think she probably was acquainted with other people in my family. I'll just leave that there. But anyway, I saw this graffiti of a wolf totem on a I won't tell you where. People go looking for it. And it was a beautiful work of art, and it was three-dimensional, which is the old style hieroglyph work. I'm thinking, this is an old school Wolf Clan person. What I didn't know was that he had died young. I think he died young, and that graffiti was the last thing he left behind, the last message that he left behind, and I was inspired by it and moved by it. I was moved by it. So I ended up having a vision about him. This is really hard to explain because it doesn't. The church people are going to hate me for this, but it's what I saw. It's what I saw. I can only tell you what I saw. I tell them like I see them. And excuse my face, but I'm 62 years old. Anyway. Headlights, burning. So anyway, I had a really vivid image. I did not imagine this because I wouldn't even know how. My imagination is not that good. It's not even close to that good. Sometimes I dream these things, and sometimes I dream them while I am awake. And this one was a waking vision. And this boy went to hell, but he wouldn't stay there because he had heard some of the things that I said during my rants in my own house by myself, but somehow he knew. And I guess we inspired each other. I don't want to go into the details, but where we were at was like, there's a lot of paranormal and other stuff that was going on. He went to hell, but then he left. He flew out of hell. This is the kind of spiritual size and power this guy had. Why he was going to hell in the first place, I think he was misled. I think he was severely misled. That's the only explanation I can think of. Misguided loyalties can get you hell. Watch out for that. So he went, but he couldn't keep him in there. But it was because of what I had promised. And then I have since rescinded that deal. I don't do that anymore. That was over right after that. That's how I learned my lesson about making deals like that. Because people might actually take you up on it, you know. It could have got really bad if I had left that hanging out there. But no. Two beings that seem to be made out of fire or lava, burning lava, chased him down, and they put him in like a limbo place, a room, a cell, because you can't actually just leave hell without permission from God. You can't actually leave. So they went and got him. I saw it with this thing right here. I only believe the things that I see. I'm actually a realist because I only believe the things that I see. How many people do you know that can say that? Well, I can say it. without fear of contradiction from any honest person. I call him Wolf Boy. Wolf Boy is probably still waiting in that room for me to die so that I can intercede for him with God. But I thought, why should he be lonely? You know, after a while he calmed down. At first he was enraged, but then he calmed down after a while. I thought, why should he be alone? Brenda's got nothing to do. As far as I know, she's doing nothing. So let them entertain each other. And you know what? I instantly saw her in there with him in the room, but she has freedom of movement inside that realm. She's not trapped anywhere. She doesn't have enemies the way that most people in hell probably do. A lot of people really loved her. Maybe that's why. Maybe God had a soft spot for her too. And they both looked at me like, thank you, you know? Because apparently they knew each other or they just hit it off right away. I wanted to tell you that because I want people to know the spirit realm exists. Visiting the spirit realm has been an escape from pain for me, and it could be that way for you. Just don't do anything drastical. Don't take anything over what you can handle. Natural substances or whatever. Don't take a whole lot of that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Microdose is okay. Otherwise, no. Cannabis. In moderation. You know, be careful. Most people overdo it. I say what I've heard is that if you just eat cannabis or do CBD, people don't tend to have too many problems with that as long as they don't overdo it. But you can do it without any substance at all. You don't need any of that stuff. I just wanted to be really honest. And I might cut this part out anyway. Because I don't need any more judgments on me from people. Only God can judge, ultimately. That's why I can only intercede. I can't tell him what to do. Peace.